Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're shining a massive, and I mean absolutely crucial spotlight on the hidden engine driving our modern age. And yeah, I'm talking about AI data. Now, we hear about the incredible leaps in artificial intelligence pretty much every single day, right? But you know what we rarely talk about? The deeply broken economy running underneath all of it. We are talking about the data royalty economy. By the end of this explainer, we're going to uncover exactly how a brand new architecture called Codatta is attempting to completely rewire how data is valued, owned, and ultimately paid for. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Who actually owns and profits from the data fueling the AI boom? Seriously, I want you to stop and think about your own digital footprint for a second. Every article written, every image uploaded, literally every piece of human or even AI-produced data out there is just being scooped up to train these massive models. We're essentially tossing our data into the void like digital confetti, and we're doing it for free. But here's the crazy secret. The overall progress of AI right now, it's actually hitting a massive wall. It's being heavily throttled by three absolutely critical issues: data cost, data quality, and data attribution. The builders are struggling to afford good data, and the people actually creating the data, well, they aren't seeing a dime. So, the current bottleneck is honestly a classic standoff. On one side, we've got the contributors, the folks actually providing the raw material. Under the current system, they rarely retain any true ownership of their work, and they almost never share in the downstream value once an AI model becomes super successful and profitable. But then, look at the other side. The buyers, the AI developers. Now, you might think they have it easy, but they don't. They're desperate for high-quality data with trustable provenance. They absolutely need to know exactly where it came from, so their models don't just hallucinate or, worse, violate copyrights. Plus, they desperately want flexible financial options, like being able to train a model right now and pay for the data later. It's a total standoff. And this broken system matters to literally anyone contributing to or building in our modern data pool. Now, what's really interesting here is the solution to this standoff. It's an architecture called Codatta. Now, don't let the phrase on-chain intimidate you, okay? We're not here to get bogged down in a bunch of blockchain jargon. Codatta is simply an on-chain knowledge layer. What it effectively does is it assetifies human and AI-produced data. It's this brilliant architectural fix that takes all that abstract information floating around the internet and turns it into tangible, ownable, tradable, and revenue-sharing assets. It literally assigns actual, trackable property rights to data. How cool is that? To actually make that ambitious goal happen, Codatta relies on three core interconnected systems that just work in perfect harmony. First up, there's the data system. This handles the digital fingerprints, tracks the exact lineage of where a piece of data originated, and strictly manages access control and privacy. Next is the royalty engine. This handles the licensing rules and makes absolutely sure those automatic payouts actually flow to the right people. And finally, there's an agent network made up of both human and AI identities. This network uses robust reputation scores to source, label, validate, and evaluate both the raw data and the AI systems themselves. So together, these pieces seamlessly lock together to verify that the data is high quality and, most importantly, that it belongs to you. Section 2. Inside the royalty economy, turning data assets into continuous payouts. Let's see how this builds. So, how does the money actually flow securely and, more importantly, fairly? Well, it happens in three pretty elegant steps. Step 1 is establishing ownership fractions. Through your direct contributions, verifications, and staking, you establish a fractional ownership stake over specific data assets. Step 2 is recording and metering usage. And guys, this is huge. This system meticulously tracks when not specific data is consumed, whether it's for initial model training, fine-tuning an existing model, or even downstream inference when the model is out in the real world answering user queries. And finally, step 3, automatic payouts. Every single time there's an API call or a token request utilizing that licensed data, smart contracts trigger. They automatically split the royalties per the agreed terms. So contributors, validators, financial backers, and the protocol treasury all get their correct slice continuously and totally without human intervention. This creates a massive self-sustaining flywheel effect. Better data leads directly to better AI models. Better models naturally drive way more usage from consumers, and more usage, that generates more royalties. For the very first time in the entire AI boom, the sheer value of high-quality data is structurally recognized. The incentives are finally aligned so that the right people automatically get paid for providing the right information. It's a real game changer. And this brilliantly illustrates the solution to those buyers' bottlenecks we discussed at the very beginning. AI developers need flexible, affordable access to trustable data, right? Well, they can choose pay as you train for standard upfront licensing when they consume data. But if they're an AI startup and kind of tight on capital, they can utilize TNPL, train now, pay later. That heavily reduces that upfront friction and lets them actually build first. Or they can choose pay on results, which is entirely performance linked. Payments are tied directly to specific APIs and service level agreements. It just cleanly and logically organizes the ways developers can affordably access the data they need to build the future. Section 3. What you get. The Codatta integration. Building the backend of data ownership. So think about the platforms you use every day. For them, the core Codatta advantage is really threefold. First, platforms instantly get those ownable data assets with an immutable lineage, meaning samples, labels, and validations are permanently and undeniably tracked. Second, they unlock those continuous royalty-based payouts whenever those assets or derived models are used in production. But the third point, this is absolutely the crucial factor for wide-scale adoption. It's a pluggable backend. Existing platforms do not need to start from scratch. They don't have to completely re-architect their front ends or change how their users interact with their app. Codatta just quietly slides in as the backend engine, handling the provenance, the licensing policy, the metering, and the payouts. It's the whole shebang, totally behind the scenes. So the crucial point is this. Codatta is not a marketplace. Let's decisively clear up that misconception right now. It is definitely not trying to build a standalone platform to compete with the data marketplaces that already exist out there. Rather, it's the invisible, pluggable infrastructure powering the ones that already do exist out there. It simply plugs right into existing networks, upgrading them instantly into the data royalty economy. It's the plumbing, not the storefront. Which brings us to our final lingering question. In a royalty-driven economy, what is the true value of your data? Codatta's architecture proves that our digital contributions, whether human-made or AI-produced, they just don't have to be freely harvested to fuel a multi-billion-dollar AI industry. By acting as the on-chain knowledge and royalty backend, Codatta offers a real, scalable path to true ownership and automated payouts. It completely redefines the scale and flow of data value. That is a massive paradigm shift, and it's definitely something to think about the very next time you contribute your knowledge to the digital world. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, Focus Learners. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.